And now my favorite part. Part 3, the playoff teams. Now, unlike last year where there were no 9-7 football teams, they even made the playoffs. This year you had 2 teams with a 9-7 record or worse making the postseason this past year. And it starts with the Green Bay Packers, who finished 8-7-1. They were in danger of missing the playoffs entirely, especially after Aaron Rodgers' broken collarbone they suffered in the first meeting against the Chicago Bears on a Monday night game. And of course, the Packers lost that game. And at that point, from that point on, the season was in question up until they beat the Dallas Cowboys when they re-signed Matt Flynn, for one thing. And of course, Matt Flynn was the starter that won the game, and the Packers were down by an insurmountable margin. And that was the other problem with the Cowboys. That still exists to this day. Of course, their defense sucked, but in any event. But that was a key victory for the Packers because it still kept them alive, even though they lost to the Steelers the following week in their regular season home finale. Then they faced the Bears again. Of course, they faced Rusty J. Cutler. And my feeling about Cutler versus Rodgers is this. Pretty much, I'd say 8 times out of 10, when Rodgers and Cutler get together, Rodgers usually ends up winning at least 8 out of 10 times. Cutler's won a few games against the Packers, but not many. Not many. You could argue it's because Cutler hasn't played many games because he was injured most of the time, but still. But in any event. But then they faced the 49ers, and of course, it was obvious the Niners were hands down the better football team than the Green Bay Packers. But that was a good fucking playoff game. And of course, the Packers got owned by the Niners once again, not just in the regular season, but in the postseason as well. And of course, that field at Lambeau, holy shit, that was fucking bad. The Packers might have to switch to a more grassy turf with the pellets on the field and everything because of that field, because they have the warming whatever technology on the bottom of the field. Problem with that is that every time it snows and they have to warm that up, that kills the grass. That's the one thing I will respect out of the Cardinals. Because when you look at that stadium and when you look at that field, they take pride in their grass. I mean, there has to be something said for that, and that's why they deserve another Super Bowl at their stadium. But back to the Packers. Defense was kind of an issue. They didn't just lose Rodgers, they lost Clay Matthews as well for a duration of the season. Of course, whatever there. Alright, this one was an interesting one for me. The Philadelphia Eagles. Last year, now, another part of this weird frustration type of whatever. Before the 2012 season started, I had the Eagles making the playoffs. Obviously, they went 4-12. This year, I did not have Philadelphia making the playoffs, obviously. And guess what happened? They made the fucking playoffs. But in any event, now last year when I did my 2012 review, I did blindly say that after the whole Michael Vick bullshit started to get up again, that I said that the Eagles would trade Nick Foles to wherever. You know what? I'm glad I was wrong about that. Nick Foles played fucking awesome this year. Michael Vick had his chances. I told you. put up or fucking shut up. He did not fucking put up. End of story. Nick Foles took when Vic went down and Nick Foles was put in. He stepped up and took advantage of it. Now they did lose to the Saints in the wild card round. I get all that, but let's give Nick Foles some credit. That defense was near the bottom, which is surprising because they've got good players on defense. With Trent Cole, the guy with the weird eyes. Just a lot of different players. Can't memorize them all right now, but because I'm just trying to get through this shit quickly as I can. Don't expect me to do that, but you know what I mean. But yeah, Foles did. Yeah, Nick Foles is obviously going to be the starter moving forward, and you know what that means. Bye-bye, Michael Vick. Hopefully for good, so that now I can get over Michael Vick's bullshit dogfighting thing. That's when I will get over Michael Vick's bullshit dogfighting thing. When he finally fucking quits the National Football League for good. But sadly though, I see him playing for another fucking year. Just saying. LaShawn McCoy was awesome this past season. Deshaun Jackson, Riley Racist Cooper. Let's be fair here. I only call him Riley Racist Cooper just for joking purposes. Because he said the N-word one time. Granted, he should call him. He is a racist for that. I don't want to hear the bullshit. Oh, he was drunk, so therefore you're taking it out of context. Most people, not every person who gets drunk just blurts out racial slurs. That's fuck is that bullshit. But in any event, now last year I also said I was 50-50 on Chip Kelly for obvious reasons. But now after seeing a full season of Chip Kelly under his belt, I'm still 50-50. They got a lot of issues. They may have to give up either Riley Racist Cooper or Jeremy Maclin, who didn't even play because of a torn ligament injury. And they may have to get rid of both those guys. They're not in the best situation as far as the cap's concerned. It's got kind of not good. But they've got really good tight ends. They got Zach, they got Ertz, and they have Brent Selleck. Holy shit, those are. They still have a couple of good weapons. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm still 50-50 on this team. But I'll just say this: the quarterback that has grown the most, judging by the 2012 draft, the quarterback that has grown the most from year 1 to year 2, it's damn sure not RG3. It's not Brandon Weeden, who didn't win a single start with the Cleveland Browns. It's not Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's grown a little bit, but he's matured greatly. I'll give him that. And it's not even Andrew Luck. It's damn sure not Tannehill. It's Nick Foles. Holy shit. Last year, he played okay, but he wasn't but he didn't really prove himself. And then this year he only throws 2 interceptions to 25 touchdown passes. I believe he has the best touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history. And he didn't even play a full season. Let's see how he does when he plays a full season. But I'm not going to say he's better than Tony Romo yet. He's still on the Romo list for now because for obvious reasons. He hasn't beaten him yet. Bottom line. That's the real bottom line. All right, moving forward. Oh, and the guy who drafted him was Andy Reid, just so people know. And by the way, here's Andy Reid right now. Kansas City Chiefs, 11-5 after a 2-14 disaster season where everything that could have gone wrong did. But this year, regardless of the scheduling, regardless of all that shit, yeah, and the Chiefs had an easier schedule, which they're not going to have this coming season in 2014. They got to face, and they're going to be facing more a competitive schedule now. You know, that's. But hey, let's take it for what it's worth. But yeah, and it's a fucking joke that Andy Reid did not get NFL Coach of the Year. I mean, it really is. I mean, no disrespect to Mr. Ron Rivera. Congrats to him. He deserves it and everything. But I just feel that Andy Reid deserves it more, considering. But then again, it was pretty obvious that the Chiefs were more talented than people thought. Of course, problem with the Chiefs, though, they didn't really beat anybody. They beat nobody as far as playoff teams were concerned. They got swept by the Broncos. They lost to the Colts. They got swept by the San Diego Chargers. I mean, those were their 5 losses in the regular season, and they lost to the Colts again. And of course, we all know about that loss. They blow a 38-10 lead. That was probably one of the best comebacks I've ever fucking seen. You know, holy shit! But hey, let's give the Chiefs credit. But I think they're going to be in trouble this coming season. I mean, I see it now. I see it now. The Cincinnati Bengals, 11-5, clinching the AFC North for the first time since 2009. And there's a reason why the Bengals cannot represent the AFC North. They embarrassed themselves in that playoff loss to the San Diego Chargers. They really did. And it's such a shame. They had a good they had a good fucking team. Good, at least offensively. Their defense was banged up, losing Geno Atkins, obviously hurt tremendously. Even though they still had Burfict and still had Maluga, although I believe he missed some time as well. But still though, but that team is still loaded on defense. I obviously wish Geno a speedy recovery, because they're going to fucking need him. If they want to win a playoff game, they still have not won a playoff game since 1990. It's been 20 some odd years, 20 whatever, 24 years now since they've won a playoff game. I mean, they or 23. Who cares? They're gonna have to get. I mean, this season is gonna have to be it for Marvin Lewis. You know, put up or fucking shut up. I don't know how you can go 0-5 in the postseason and still manage to keep your job. I mean, seriously, he's like the second longest he's the second longest tenured coach in the National Football League. That is not. I mean, how the fuck is that possible? When you consider the situation, you know. But it is what it is. Andy Dalton's going to have to improve. I'd like to welcome another quarterback to this Romo list, which is now going to expand, because I do believe Sanchez is going to be playing, is going to be a starter again, and I do believe that Shaw's going to be a starter again somewhere else. Andy Dalton is not better than Tony Romo. I mean, I'm sorry. I can't say that anymore. I mean, after the bullshit. There is one quarterback that I will take off the Romo list for now. More on that in a second. Let me get to the San Diego Chargers, the other team that went 9-7 and won that playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals. San Diego had to get off to a fucking hot start. I believe they went 4-7, and then they started rolling. They beat both. They swept both of the Mannings. They beat Eli 1 week, and then the following week, which was just 3 days later, against Peyton Manning. Of course, that victory over the Chiefs, I believe, really was the starting point for the Chargers' turnaround. that Chiefs victory on the road. Phillip Rivers, comeback player of the year. He had his best season, probably his best season of his career. So the fact that he came back. So yeah, he did. Once again, another quarterback I can't stand, but give the devil his due. Mike McCoy has done a great job. I believe he'll continue to do a great job. I like what he's doing. I really do. I think he's going to be an excellent head coach. Will the Chargers still play in San Diego? Well, it depends on the fans and how loyal they are. I mean, that's all it comes down to. And that part's a shame. But all the Chargers need to do is just keep winning, and they'll have no problem. I mean, 9-7's not a great record, but but there were a couple predictions I had right throughout the entire season. And these were three of them: the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Chiefs would all make the playoffs. I said that from the beginning. If you have read my posts, for those of you who are just new to me, obviously don't know what I'm talking about, because I'm not saying that as an insult, but whatever. But the Chargers, they need to improve defensively. The sky's the limit for them. I mean, Phillip Rivers doesn't have much left. Do I think he'll win a Super Bowl? Probably not. But hey, at least he'll get I think he will get a chance at a Super Bowl. Okay. Moving on, because the Indianapolis Colts, who don't have a first-round pick, obviously, because they traded that for Trent Richardson. But they went 11-5. Obviously, I mentioned the comeback victory earlier when I mentioned the Chiefs. Interesting season for them. They went 11-5, and they still had it, and they did it without most of their starters being done for the season or whatever. Reggie Wayne, that was a factor to part of why Andrew Luck's growth didn't really rise as much as I was hoping. He did throw 9 interceptions he did cut down on the interceptions in the regular season. In the regular season, mind you. He threw 18 in 2012. This year he threw only 9. His touchdown production was the same. However, in the postseason, he threw 7 interceptions in just 2 games. I mean, so whatever there. I don't know about this Colts team heading forward, but I think the Colts will do just fine. It's just the issue with the fucking running back. Hopefully, Ballard will take the starting job by the horns and just keep Trent Richardson out of the way. Donald Brown, he's not coming back with the Colts. I'm sorry. Ahmad Bradshaw, 50-50 on him. It's either, I'll give you this. It's either Ahmad Bradshaw or Donald Duck Brown staying with the Indianapolis Colts. And that's all I got to say about that. But hey, I still like this Colts team going forward. Just leave it at that. All right. The New Orleans Saints. 7-9 in 2012, when the bounty suspensions were and confusions and all this bullshit. Worst defense in NFL history. This past season, they were ranked number 4 in the NFL in defense. Thanks to Rob Ryan, of course. And of course, Drew Brees, another 5,000-yard passing season. This would be the 3rd consecutive season for that, I believe. And obviously his 4th of his career. We all remember the first 5,000-yard season where and that was Drew Brees' first attempt at breaking Dan Marino's record. for passing yards in a single season. Unbelievable. But now, sadly, their defense, though, as good as they were, they had to let go. But they had to let go of 3 players. Jonathan Vilma was already an unrestricted free agent at that point, and they already decided not to welcome him back because the Saints were strapped for the cap and everything. They had to let go of those 3 players. Will Smith was one of them, Roman Harper, and Greer. I believe it was Albert Greer. I could be wrong, but and of course, I believe led the team in sacks and whatever there. But in any event, and they're gonna have to do more than that if they want to keep Jimmy Graham, because I think they're gonna have to ask Drew Brees for a pay cut, like I mentioned, if he wants to keep Jimmy Graham with the Saints. It might be just like the Drew Brees situation. Who knows? He might get signed. He might sign the contract on Friday the 13th or something like that. Just like Drew Brees did 2 years ago, 2 off seasons ago at least. But in any event, all right, the Carolina Panthers, the team that surprised everybody. Panthers were well on their way to another 1-3 start. Once again, congrats to Ron Rivera for winning Coach of the Year, even though I believe Andy Reid deserved it more. That quarterback that was originally on the Romo list, Cam Newton, is off the Romo list for now. I'm not going to say he's better than Tony Romo yet. I'm just saying that he's probably at that same level. Cam just needs to stop. You know what? I don't care about his silliness anymore. Let him have the fucking fun. He's got a swagger, and that's what I like about him. You're damn fucking right. But their defense played a hell of a lot better, obviously. I believe first in the NFL in sacks. That team's got a talented group of pass rushers. And of course, Luke Kuechly winning Defensive Player of the Year. Congrats to him. Yeah, he should. I was arguing last year that he shouldn't have been on the top 100. He should have been lower on the top 100, which was kind of foolish of me now that I think about it. But this year, he should be at the top 20, if not the top 15. Okay. I'm telling you, he's that fucking good, people. Learned my lesson. Thank you very much. But yeah, the issue with this team is the lack of wide receivers. And, how much does Steve Smith have left in the tank going forward? That's and let's see what Cam Newton does. Now that he's had the success of the regular season, let's see if he can build on that. That is my concern for Cam Newton. But he has grown up an awful lot from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. The first 2 years, kind of a goofball. 3 years, but the 3rd year, he's matured a lot. And I mean a lot. Hopefully RG3 can mature a lot. But whatever there. And I said I'd stop saying RG3. Robert Griffin. The Turk. Anyway. The New England Patriots. This one was interesting to me for obvious reasons. Their 3rd consecutive conference championship appearance. Their 2nd consecutive conference championship loss. Losing to the Ravens this past in 2012, and then in 2013 losing to the Broncos after beating the Broncos earlier. Holy shit! Am I surprised that the Patriots went 12-4 despite the bullshit with the Aaron Hernandez is BS and him being a piece of shit? Rob Gronkowski's injury-ridden season, and signing Amendola, another injury-prone player. And the fact that they've lost Vince Wilfork and Gerard Mayo for the season. Should I have been surprised by that? And am I surprised by that? No. For Belichick, it's just business as usual. Plus, you still have Tom Brady, who will arguably go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, even if he never beats Eli at a Super Bowl. You know, let's stop with the double standards. I mean, rings should not be the only outcome on how great a quarterback is. Okay? Whatever there. Tom Brady had a really good season. I will admit that a lot of this shit was Brady's fault, but it doesn't matter. They still went 12-4. He still is winning. I like the Patriots going forward. I mean, as long as Gronkowski can stay healthy. That's my concern. So there you go. And the 49ers, another team, just like the Patriots, third consecutive conference championship appearance. Of course they won. Of course, the only difference was the Niners won the conference championship game last year, beating the Atlanta Falcons. This time around, losing to the Seattle Seahawks, the eventual Super Bowl champions, of course. Kaepernick, I hate to do this, but he's on the Romo list too now. Yeah. When you're ranked you're ranked dead last in passing yards, and don't feed me the bullshit excuses about, oh, he likes to run and shit. The problem with Kaepernick is that he likes to lock down on one receiver. For the criticism that Joe Montana gave to Kaepernick was warranted and proven. It was pretty obvious in the championship game. He was nervous. You saw it in Super Bowl 47. He was nervous. This past season in the championship game, he was even more nervous. That scares me a little bit. It really does. You know, but give the Niners credit. They're still a better team now than they were before Jim Harbaugh set foot in that locker room. Because you gotta remember, the Niners were a horrible fucking team since between a period of 2003 and 2010. So the fact that they're once again a winning program, 13-3, 11-4-1, and 12-4, this past season, you know, the Niners are back. But hey, we'll wait and see. And there's been, of course, excuses for that game as well. Oh, the Seahawks had more penalties. Seahawks didn't have many penalties as the Niners did. Therefore, in their minds, the game is rigged. Shut the fuck up. It's not that at all. It's just that the Seahawks were more disciplined. But then again, there were some calls that were blatantly, I don't give a fuck. No one cares. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck over it. Cry me a fucking river. Fuck. Shut up. Niners deserve to lose that game. Fuck off. Speaking of the Super Bowl participants, the Broncos and the Seahawks. Let's just put it to you like this. The Broncos, you know what? Listen, let me start with the Broncos first. Happy that Peyton Manning, because the Broncos are my team, happy Peyton Manning threw the 55 touchdown passes, broke Drew Brees' record and Tom Brady's record, all in one swoop. I'm happy about that. Don't get it twisted. Because now it'll be the Broncos' record for years to come. And we all know that Peyton's not going to have another season like that. At 38 years old, gone. But, and it's been a couple weeks since Super Bowl 48. But here's why the Broncos were able to do that. The 600 points and all this shit. They were facing an easy schedule. They were facing some pretty bad defenses, like the Cowboys defense. You know? I mean, shit, the Redskins defense was pretty bad. And they were just facing just bad teams in general. They were facing the NFC East, the worst division in football. The teams that they lost to they should have lost to because they were good football teams. The Chargers, although, okay, maybe not, definitely not the Chargers, But they should have lost to the Colts and they should have lost to the Patriots in the regular season games because the Patriots and the Colts were proven to be better football teams than the Broncos. They didn't face anybody. 2014, if the Broncos expect to make it back to the Super Bowl next year, this is going to be a character-building season for the Broncos. They will either go 11-5 and somehow go into the Super Bowl as a wild card team, or they will go 6-10, fall flat on their fucking face. Because they're not going to be facing a cupcake schedule this fucking season. This upcoming season. They're not going to do that. And this vid's gone way too long as it is, but I need to get this shit out there. They're going to be facing the Seahawks again. Most likely in the Thursday night season opener. They're going to be facing the 49ers. I wouldn't worry too much about the Cardinals, but you never fucking know. And then the Rams. They're always... You can't predict them either. Just even though they're losing, even though they're still not a good football team. From an offensive standpoint. You know, they got to face the Colts. They got to face the Patriots again. They got to face the Bengals. You know, they're not facing cupcake schedules anymore. They're not going to be facing a cupcake this year. This cup in 2014. You know, this is not like 2012 when they were facing schlubs. You know, the Saints when they were not a good football team. The Panthers, the Buccaneers, the team that they lost to, the Falcons, because they were a good football team. They're not going to be facing the Cleveland Browns or the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Baltimore Ravens, even though they actually lost to them, or the Cincinnati Bengals when they were still trying to find their way. They're going to be facing the Bengals when they were a good football team. They're not going to be facing that cupcake anymore. They're not facing the NFC East next year. I wish you could do that, but you have to reverse. Which leads me to the Seattle Seahawks. And that underrated offense. And they've got some issues too. They got to figure their shit out too. You know, do they keep Sidney Rice? Do they keep Doug Baldwin? Do they keep... Their receiving core is not that bad. When they fought, and Russell Wilson is not that fucking bad. In fact, he's pretty damn fucking good. Okay? Because the Seahawks, it seems almost week after week, have been facing good defenses. It's what happens when you face the Cardinals twice, the Niners 3 times, and the Rams, an underrated defense. You know? They were facing good the fucking Saints. Twice. Once in the regular season, once in the postseason. I mean, when you face those fucking teams, it's a no-brainer. Now, did I have the Seahawks even making the playoffs when the season started? No. No. I was a fucking moron. I'll admit that. I did make my mid-season adjustment though, saying that the Hawks were going to win the NFC West after all. So, yeah. But in any event, and yes, but I still eventually picked the Seahawks to beat the Broncos. Eventually. But in any event, it is what it is. And I would not, and once again, I would not be surprised if the Seahawks were to make it back to the Super Bowl and win next year. If not next year, because I think the Niners might have something to say about it, then maybe the year after that in 2015. Because the Seahawks will win another Super Bowl before this decade is done. Might even be soon, who knows. Alright, just a few more things before I finally put 2013 to bed and move forward to 2014. Officially. Because I forgot to mention Keenan Allen of the San Diego Chargers and Eddie Lacy of the Green Bay Packers. Because both of those guys were competing for Offensive Rookie of the Year. You know, Keenan Allen, he's going to be a great asset for Phillip Rivers, and which should take the pressure off of Antonio Gates. especially now since Antonio Gates is getting older and obviously getting slower. When you get older, you tend to lose a few steps. We saw that with Tony Gonzalez this past season as well, which is why he finally needed to go, sadly. But Eddie Lacy, of course, there was a bit of skepticism for him, mainly because of the fact that he wasn't one of those SEC running backs, just like a Trent Richardson and a Noshawn Moreno. The only reason why they were successful in college was because of the offensive linemen that they have over there. But Eddie Lacy killed off those stereotypes with his Rookie of the Year performance. Congrats to him, of course. And look for Eddie Lacy to be another dimension for the Green Bay Packers, especially for Aaron Rodgers once he finally gets healthy and finally gets back to 100%. And once that happens, look for the Packers to dominate the division again. Lions, I'm sorry, they had their chances, and they couldn't fucking do it. And yes, once again, congrats on Peyton Manning winning Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. Congrats on that. It's his 5th MVP award of his career, and his second one in a Super Bowl losing effort. Because prior to the 2014 season, the last time he won an MVP award and lost the Super Bowl that very same season was 2009 against the New Orleans Saints. And he does it again this past season. All right, that wraps up 2013, excuse me. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my review, my 3-part review. Again, a video once in a while, if I feel like making a video. But that finally wraps up 2013. Moving forward to 2014, and looking forward to seeing what happens this upcoming season. It should be an interesting one, as always. So, that's it. That's all for the 2013 season. Till next time, later, fuckers.